Wife cheats, but she doesn't know I'm recording everything. I'm 35 and I've been married to my wife, Sarah, 33, for 10 years. Our marriage was something out of a dream. Or so I thought. Sarah was everything to me. Smart, beautiful, funny, and kind. Friends would tell me how lucky I was to have her, and I believed them. But a few months ago, cracks started to appear in the foundation of what I thought was a perfect marriage. It began with subtle changes. Sarah started spending more time out of the house, claiming she was with her friends or at work. She was glued to her phone, taking it everywhere, even to the bathroom, which she never used to do. She became distant, both emotionally and physically. At first, I chalked it up to stress or burnout. Everyone goes through phases, right? But when she began coming home late with vague excuses like a work meeting ran long, my gut told me something was wrong. I tried to ignore it. I didn't want to be that guy, the paranoid, jealous husband. But my instincts wouldn't let me rest. One night, I decided to take action. I purchased a small, hidden camera and placed it discreetly in our living room. I also installed a tracking app on her phone. I felt guilty, but I needed answers. What I discovered broke me. Within a week, the camera recorded everything I feared. Sarah wasn't just spending time with friends. She was bringing someone to our home, a man I didn't recognize. Watching them together in the place where we had built a life made my blood boil. But it wasn't just their actions, it was their conversations that destroyed me. "Don't worry," she told him, "he's completely clueless. He's too nice to ever suspect anything." Hearing those words felt like a knife to the chest. I had given her my trust, my love, and this was how she repaid me? I wanted to confront her immediately, to scream, to demand answers, but then I realized something. If I acted impulsively, she might find a way to twist the situation. Instead, I decided to play the long game. The first thing I did was consult a lawyer. I explained everything and began preparing divorce papers. But I wasn't going to serve her just yet. I wanted her to understand the depth of her betrayal. For the next few weeks, I started acting differently. I began coming home late, claiming I was busy with work. I started dressing better, wearing cologne, and spending more time on my phone. Sarah noticed almost immediately. One night, she confronted me. "Is everything okay? You've been acting different." I shrugged. "I'm fine. Why do you ask?" She hesitated, looking nervous. "You're not hiding something from me, are you?" I couldn't help but smile. "No, Sarah, are you?" Her face turned pale, but she quickly recovered, laughing it off. "Of course not," she said, but I could see the cracks forming in her confidence. The turning point came 2 weeks later. I planned a dinner at her favorite restaurant. I told her it was to celebrate our anniversary, and she seemed genuinely touched. She dressed up, smiling like the woman I fell in love with. But when we arrived, she froze. Sitting at the table were her parents, my lawyer, and a few close friends. "What's going on?" she asked, her voice shaking. I calmly took out my laptop and played the video, the one of her and her lover in our living room. Her reaction was exactly what I expected. She started stammering, trying to explain, but I raised my hand to stop her. "This isn't a conversation, Sarah. This is me showing you the consequences of your actions." She broke down in tears, begging me to forgive her, but I'd already made up my mind. I left the restaurant, leaving her to face the people she had lied to and betrayed. The aftermath was brutal, for her at least. Word spread quickly among our friends and family. Her lover? He vanished as soon as the drama unfolded. Sarah tried to contact me multiple times, sending long messages about how she'd made a mistake and deserved a second chance. But I was done. Now I live on my own, enjoying my freedom, and slowly rebuilding my life. I've even started dating someone new, a woman who values honesty and respect. As for Sarah, she's lost everything: her marriage, her reputation, and even the respect of her own family. If there's one thing I've learned from all this, it's that betrayal has a price. Trust, once broken, is nearly impossible to repair, and if someone shows you who they truly are, believe them the first time. Continuation, a new chapter in the dark side of revenge. After serving Sarah the divorce papers and leaving her to deal with the fallout, I thought I'd feel relief. Closure, maybe even vindication. But that wasn't the case. I was angry, no furious, and that anger didn't just disappear, it lingered. And as much as I tried to move on, I couldn't stop replaying everything I had seen and heard. The worst part? Sarah didn't back off. A few days after the dinner, she showed up at my apartment unannounced. I didn't tell her where I was staying, so she must have asked around or figured it out on her own. She was crying, her makeup smeared, and she looked like she hadn't slept in days. "Please," she begged, standing at my door. "You have to let me explain. It wasn't what you think." I laughed bitterly. "It wasn't what I think. Sarah, I watched you screw another man in our house, in our bed. So, go ahead. What part of that am I misunderstanding?" She broke down completely, sobbing and grabbing at my arm. I had to physically push her back to keep her from coming inside. "You can't just throw away 10 years like this," she screamed. "I made a mistake." "A mistake." My voice rose and I felt my control slipping. "A mistake is forgetting to take out the trash, Sarah. A mistake isn't sleeping with someone else repeatedly, lying about it, and then mocking me behind my back." Her face twisted, and for a moment, I saw something darker in her eyes. "You're not perfect either, you know. You were always working, always busy. Maybe if you paid more attention to me." "Stop." I cut her off. "This is on you, not me. Don't you dare try to shift the blame." I slammed the door in her face, her muffled sobs fading as I locked the deadbolt. But that wasn't the last of it. The fallout hits hard. Sarah's desperation escalated over the next few weeks. She began calling and texting incessantly, leaving long voicemails about how she wanted to fix things. At first, I ignored her, but then the messages turned darker. One night, I got a voicemail from her that sent a chill down my spine. "If I can't have you, no one will." I stared at my phone, heart pounding. Was she threatening me, or herself? Either way, I wasn't taking any chances. I saved the voicemail and contacted my lawyer again. He recommended getting a restraining order, and I agreed. But Sarah wasn't done. A week later, I came home to find the tires on my car slashed. My front door had been scratched with what looked like a knife, deep grooves spelling out "liar." I checked my security cameras, but whoever did it wore a hoodie and mask. I had my suspicions. The breaking point. The final straw came when I received an anonymous email. It was a video, grainy and poorly shot, but unmistakable. Sarah had followed me to a cafe where I had been meeting a woman I recently started seeing. She recorded us laughing, talking, and then kissing as we said goodbye. Under the video was a message. "Does she know what kind of man you are? Maybe I should tell her everything." The audacity floored me. After everything she had done, she was still trying to paint me as the villain. But this time, I didn't let the anger consume me. I forwarded the email to my lawyer and to the police, including the previous incidents and her voicemail as evidence. Within days, a restraining order was issued against Sarah, and she was formally warned to stay away from me. A shocking twist. Just when I thought it was over, I got a call late one night from Sarah's sister, Megan. We'd always gotten along, so her tone of urgency immediately put me on edge. "You need to know something," Megan said. "Sarah's not, well, she's been saying some really scary things about you and about herself. I think she's losing it." I wanted to ignore it. After everything Sarah had put me through, I didn't feel like I owed her anything. But deep down, I couldn't shake the guilt. Megan continued, her voice breaking. "She's at Mom and Dad's house right now. She's drunk and talking about doing something permanent. I'm scared, and I don't know what to do." As much as I hated Sarah in that moment, I didn't want her to hurt herself. I told Megan to call the police and let them handle it, and she did. The next day, I learned that Sarah had been taken to a hospital for a psychological evaluation. Megan told me they found her in the bathroom with a bottle of pills and a half-written letter. The letter was addressed to me. It's been months since all of this happened. Sarah is in therapy, and as far as I know, she's trying to rebuild her life. I've kept my distance, blocking her on every platform and cutting off all mutual connections, except for Megan, who updates me occasionally. The woman I'd started seeing decided to step back from our relationship, saying it was too much drama. I don't blame her. I'm still healing, still figuring out how to trust again. Some nights I replay everything that happened and wonder if I could have handled things differently. But then I remind myself, I didn't cause this. Sarah did. If there's one trigger I'll never forget, it's the look in her eyes when she realized she'd lost control, not just of me, but of everything. It was a mix of rage, regret, and pure desperation. I wouldn't wish that kind of pain on anyone, but I also can't ignore the fact that she brought it on herself. And as for me, I'm still standing. And that's what matters.